homophobia is so far-reaching in that kids don't feel safe, they get beaten up, they don't study as well, they skip school, sometimes commit suicide. We can't allow that to happen. And as a teacher and as a counselor, you have the duty to treat all kids equally and make sure that they all get the education. And that cannot happen if you allow name-calling. That cannot happen if you allow homophobia into the classroom.
Please welcome Martina Navratilova and a group of our friends.
The reason I'm here is a couple of years ago I was at University of Massachusetts in Amherst giving a speech, and I also met with a bunch of high school kids that were involved with different gay and lesbian organizations, or they started them themselves, and that's when I really first became aware of the problem of gay kids in schools, which is the number one problem is safety, and that never occurred to me. And I thought, well, if I can just help bring you all here to listen to these stories. So I'm not the story, so without much further ado, I'd like to turn it over to the kids and parents here so they can tell you their stories, so then maybe you know more and become more aware, because I wasn't, and we're all learning. So I would like to ask all the kids here so they can give us their stories, where they're from, and what's it like for you at school.
My name is Mark Iverson. I'm from Kent, Washington. I just graduated from high school last June, and I went through 6 years of harassment for being gay, physical and emotional and verbal abuse, and it ended up in an attack by 8 kids while 30 kids were watching in the classroom, and I went through, a lot of years of pain and suffering and not wanting to go to school but how to, and so now I'm trying to fight back for me and other gay and lesbian youth.
My name is Darius. I had got jumped by 7 Latin kings because I was gay. I experienced bias attacks in school. My life has been really kind of complicated.
My name is Cassandra Lewis, and I am 16 years old and a senior in high school in Los Angeles, California. I came out to myself and my parents my sophomore year of high school, and I was really scared because I didn't really know any other gay high school youth. I couldn't relate to anyone. So I went through my sophomore year with a lot of verbal and emotional harassment. I would oftentimes come home crying from school because it was just so hard. People would call me dyke and a lot of other things, and I would walk through the hallways with my head hung low and just walk to every class and then just get the hell out of there as soon as I could. One of the major things that happened my junior year was I was elected homecoming princess as a joke, of course, and I was made a mockery of the entire school. That was very, very hard for me.
Well, for a parent, it's really hard. You feel a lot of frustration and anger and stress. You keep asking officials in the schools to help your child, and it's ignored. And he had to go to school every day, and he'd come home sometimes crying and go hide in his room. And you have to watch your child go through this all the time. You watch them withdraw and slip deeper into depression. And there was a time when Mark was suicidal. And I had to go down to his room every morning to make him get up and go to school, which he didn't want to. And the feeling of going to his room and wondering, is my child going to be alive when I walk in that room? And every day I just kept telling him, hang in there. Things will get better. Somebody will do something to help. But that never happened.
Freshman and sophomore year, I was mostly A's and B's, but My junior year is when all the stuff started falling down, and I was told, because I am an athlete, I was told by one of my basketball teammates that they weren't comfortable with me in the locker room. So that's kind of what I was dealing with, and then the whole homecoming thing. I was going through that, and which resulted in a 2.0 GPA at the end of my junior year, which was completely unacceptable.
I wanted to go to University Northwestern, but because of the harassment, I'd never be able to get into it, and so I lost the chance to go to university, and so now I have to go to community college, and then later transfer to university. But all the dreams I had of like wanting to be a producer and all that stuff are, gone now.
Mark forgot to mention when he started getting beat up by all those kids, the 30 kids watching, teachers walked out of the room. So it's great to see the teachers here so that they know, better what to do and what not to do.
I don't think teachers are really aware of what they're doing because they're just following the patterns, the norm, So I think teachers, they're not homophobic, they just don't know what's going on. They don't know the problems that the youth are facing with sexuality issues.
The stuff they do teach about gay people in health. They told us that only gay people get AIDS. I learned that in 11th grade, hearing all these negative things about you, because you take it personally.
My teacher, he is afraid of even saying the words gay and lesbian. Hi, my name is Sol Kelly Jones, and these are my two lesbian moms. I'm in 5th grade in Madison, Wisconsin. Since I've been in school, the teachers have not presented one image of a gay or lesbian family or gay or lesbian people or one story about them or anything. And they did about other families, unless I brought it in, and that has felt awful. And I did a survey in my school about, it was called Kids' Attitudes about Gay and Lesbian People, and I gave it to 4th and 5th graders in my school, and I found out that 80% of the kids had heard homophobic name calling, and they listed 20 different names they used to make fun of people that were gay or lesbian. And that's a lot.
Hey, my name is Imani Matthews, and I'm a history teacher, high school history teacher in New York. And the idea, the name calling, that is so crucial because as a teacher, whenever I do hear name calling, I do stop it at the moment and explain sort of why that hurts not only kids who may be gay and lesbian, but how it hurts us all. Because it hems us into this narrow meaning and narrow notion of what it means to be male and female. And so that if a young boy loves theater or loves the arts in any kind of way, then he might feel as if he cannot flourish in that way for fear of being called a name. Or a young girl who might like to maybe think about joining the wrestling team if there is such an option. But how it stems up all of our creativity. And as a teacher, it's about allowing kids to flourish and to nourish that creative spirit. And so I think that we need to really sort of teach how name calling not only affects gay and lesbian, but it affects us all.
I grew up in Czechoslovakia, and there, being an athlete was okay. But I know if I was growing up here, I would have been called all kinds of names. And we must remember that while most of these kids, except for Darius's dad, all their parents are supportive of them. But most gay kids don't have that at home. They don't have that safe haven. And school is pretty much the only place they are supposed to be guaranteed that. And that's the only place they can get it. For a lot of African American kids or Jewish kids or whatever, Chinese, they may be called names in school, but first of all, when the teacher hears it, they stop it, and then they can go home and get the support of their community and their family. Gay kids don't have that luxury.
We're talking about creating safe spaces for all students and teachers also. And that as an educator, that I see it as a dereliction of my responsibility, delinquency, I would be delinquent if I did not try to create that space. And teachers who are empathetic or want to be involved often don't know, how do I do that? Break the silence. Be willing to take risks to truly create a society in which everyone can be free to be all that they really would like to be. That sounds like so right. But really break the silence.
It's only right for you to get a good education and try to get the best in life. And don't try to change for anybody. Be yourself, express yourself, and be proud of who you are.
I just want to say I am a poet, I am an athlete, I'm a photographer, and I also happen to be gay. See me for all of me, not just a part of me. Thank you.
After speaking again today on the panel and listening mostly, I think the one thing that's so obvious to me is that speaking out is so important. Silence equals consent, and that balloons. It starts in first grade by calling little names, and then later on it gets more physical, and you can even get beat up, or then kids commit suicide. I mean, the consequences are really, really far-reaching, and you cannot be quiet. If you hear homophobia, if you hear bad remarks, whether it's in first grade or high school, you need to do something about it. So, I didn't realize how outreaching this all was, the consequences. But we need to get in their face, and be activists. I don't want to be an activist. I'd much rather talk about something else, but unfortunately it's necessary.